Good day everyone, Raptures here and welcome to my review of Formula 1 2012. Well, it's going to be kind of a quick overview, but it's virtually a review. So I have owned the game for over a week now, and I can officially say that it's a lot better than 2011, just for the fact that 2012 is actually getting played. It feels a lot better when you're racing, it drives a lot better, and when you use the wireless steering wheel, which I actually own, it feels a lot more responsive than what it did on 2011. There is actually a whole menu on 2012, so you can calibrate your wireless steering wheel to how much give it puts in when it becomes responsive, how responsive you want it to be when you actually turn the steering wheel, and so on and so forth. But as I said, it's an overview slash review. So first off, presentation. The menus have kind of been revamped from 2011, sorry. 2011 was a very simplistic list setup. It wasn't the most sophisticated of menus. In this one, it goes for a similar kind of thing, but it's like more of a menu inside a menu system. You have your quick drive, and then you have tablets come up, similar to what you're seeing now on the screen. But it's a lot bigger, it's a lot more present, it tells you it's a lot more clear of what you're selecting than what it was in 2011. And graphics wise, is the main up from 2011. 2011, don't get me wrong, 2011 looked great, but it didn't look anywhere near as good as what 2012 does. 2012 is very, very, very close, if not better, looking than Forza 4. Yes, I said it. It looks either just as good or better than Forza 4. And the only reason I say that is because there's a lot more effects going on in Formula 1 than there are in Forza Motorsport 4. I'm running out of breath really quickly, wow. But no, what I'm trying to say is that when you're racing, the graphics look a lot better than what they do in Forza. Forza, it looks very plasticky when you're racing. The cars don't feel like they're reacting very well when you drive it. It feels like very straight and narrow when you're driving. In Formula 1 2012, when you're driving, it feels a lot more responsive, it feels a lot more rigid, and it feels a lot more like you're actually in the seat of a Formula 1 car driving it. Just so you know, this wasn't raced on my wireless steering wheel. This is actually raced with the controller, so I do apologize for the quality of my cornering. It is kind of pathetic on the first lap, and on the second lap it's a lot better. Let's put it that way. But no, so yeah, presentation is a big step up from 2011, and it's getting close, if not better, than what Forza is at the moment. So gameplay is virtually or exactly the same as 2011. You still have your KERS, you still have your DRS, you now have a safety car system. They've now brought in a proper full-on safety car with 2012. And the only other thing which I can really say about gameplay is that they have introduced 2 or 3 new modes. The first one being Young Driver's Test, which is basically a quick training mode of how to use when different things like DRS and KERS are best used. It also teaches you how to drive in the wet and the difference between driving in the wet and driving in the dry conditions. And it also teaches you how to approach corners and taking over, which is quite handy. And then you have a new game mode called Season Challenge. Season Challenge is basically where you have 10 random tracks for the whole season of Formula 1, and you choose 10 of those tracks, and then when you select it, you have 1 lap of qualifying, and then you have the race. And basically, out of those 10 races, you have to place as high as you can in the table. It's very quick, it's very action and quick and go. And it's not very forgiving, let's put it that way. You can set your own difficulty to it, but it's still very unforgiving. If you make a mistake in your qualifying lap, that's it, you will not get another chance. And then I think the only new other mode is the Champions mode, which is basically you select, it's like a challenge mode. I'm just trying to think of a game which I can equate to, because there is one. Basically, it was one of the older NBA games where basically you'd go up against a real-life basketball player, but it's in Formula 1. So you go against a real-life Formula 1 driver, and basically you have to beat that Formula One driver in a race weekend in a track of their choosing. So it's usually a track that they're usually really good at. The first one was against Kimi Raikkonen. I think the second one's against Lewis Hamilton. Then you got people like Vettel, you got Schumacher in there, and then the last challenge out of all of them is trying to compete against all of them on one race. And I think that's the other new mode. So I'll start wrapping it up now. Formula 1 2012, it's basically a carbon copy of 2011, but with new features, improved graphics, and a lot better gameplay. And now I basically said carbon copy, but it really doesn't feel like a carbon copy when you're racing. I do enjoy this game a lot more than I did 2011. I also think it's possibly one of my favorite racing games. Dirt 3 is still up there on one of my favorites, but I think Formula 1 has found a new kind of slot into my list of racing